complexity of the application, I'd like to defer to Mr. Garrity. Are there any questions?
There's a question. So they have an application.
They've submitted their
Acton has
application.
submitted an application to the township, and we're reviewing the lighting, their lighting requirement.
The conditional ordinance.
It is the lighting ordinance that was passed a while ago required the submission of conditional use. They have now filed that conditional use.
Right.
And as you know, conditional use means that it's in front of
Conditional
you,
use, right.
not the zoning board.
Right.
And it is my understanding, and I'm working with both the other two attorneys involved, that this will be continued. But I'm working on that
Okay.
right now.
Thank you.
Okay. It is most likely, if anybody's here, that it will not be heard in August.
Any other questions? There are no other updates.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you.
All right, then.
Misery loves company.
Yep.
Yeah.
Next thing on the agenda then, Lee, is the Hickory Hill Public Sewer.
Yes, thank you, Mr. Chairman. We can, Julie, we can put that first one up relative to the DEP letter. This is the DEP letter that Mr. Rock was referring to earlier. That was forwarded to us under date, and can you do something with that focus, Julie?
That's as good as it's gonna get.
That's good, okay. June 20th correspondence directed to my office and asking and reminding us of the existence of the 537 plan that was first authored in 1996, and asking my office to respond in a 30-day cycle. I've been in touch with DEP both through Mr. Noland and my office to confirm this information, and it's my hope that tomorrow I'll be able to speak to Stephanie, who is the author of the letter. She wants to know what the current status is, what the township's doing. Can you go, Julian, to the bottom of the page? She's reminding us of the sections of the Pennsylvania Code, and then she ends up, this letter is neither an order nor an offer, nor any other final action of DEP. I'm sorry. If neither imposes nor waives any enforcement action, etc. So it is my plan that, based on our conversation this evening and the actions of the Board of Supervisors relative to this discussion, to be in correspondence with them by tomorrow morning. Let me go on and talk about the survey itself. They're aware of the survey. They're aware of everything. They're aware of everything right up until tonight. Please. The Hickory Hill Area Sewer Survey. Some of this was shown to you before. Some of it has been updated because there were new responses from non-respondents. The survey data was collected from property owners in the Hickory Hill area between September and October of 2012. Of the 71 properties, 55 property owners responded with a preference on public versus private sewer treatment. And you say, well, what happened to the others? 16 of them, no preference. They didn't want to make a commitment for whatever reason on the issue of public versus private. Of the 55 property owners who did respond, 26 expressed a preference for the current private treatment practice of the township, while 29 expressed a preference for public sewer. Of the 55 respondents, 42 property owners provided data on the age of their current system. You can go on, Julie. Okay, and here's a couple of graphs that basically try and show this. We had 55 people responding with a preference, 7 who had no preference, 7 did not respond at all to the question. 1 was returned to the office, and 1 was viewed as not being pertinent. The next one, Julie. All right, this is something that's interesting to look at. The table tries to describe, and my print's very small, so age of system in the front and the first, and then number of homes. So those people who responded that they had a 1-year-old system, there were 2 of them. And as you come down, there were 5 here who responded 48 years of age. And I think when you get into this area around 46, 48, this is probably what their representation is. They may have bought the home in 46 years ago and were not forced to upgrade the sand mound, and the home had maybe been built 5 or 7 years earlier. Back 46 years ago, no one was doing this automatically or pressuring people necessarily at the time of change of ownership to upgrade. Julie, next one. This is a graph that attempts to show the number of homes. If you'll notice, 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, number of homes and age of current system. Across the bottom, age of current system in years. You'll see that there have been people in the cycle of the last 12 years approximately who have upgraded. And that's probably because of sales of property or true system failures. Then you can also see here the age of current system. Look at the sheer number of homes representing. 5 property owners representing 48 years. 4 representing 47. 4 representing 50. So you can see what the trend on this is statistically. Julie, next one. And now another attempt to show it. This area is 1 to 10 years. This color is 11 to 20 years, 21 to 30. And as you notice, we get into this area, 27 of 42 property owners reported the age of their current system at 41 years or more. I'm simply showing that to you again. It's obvious, I think, to everybody. I'm trying to drive the point home that most of the homes there, many of the homes have had long-term ownership and have not had to upgrade to this point that the request is coming in from Hickory Hill about this. If we can go on to the next one, Julie, that's it? Okay. What this really points out, in my mind, is the fact that you have a situation where the current situation with property owners is there's almost a division of the ones that we showed. There were how many, Julie, that had, it was 20 of the 55, it was 29, 26?
29, 26.
29, 26, 29 wanting a new system, public system, 26 preferring the old system. That's the dilemma. It was almost a draw at the time we did the first one. Some of the most recent ones are in favor of the public sewer. So where we find ourselves now is, if we are going to go forward, the options that are available to the Board of Supervisors are, and I think that is the final, the option comparison. Do you have that one, Julie?
Yeah, I think
No?
we haven't gotten to that yet.
Okay, well,
All right.
it leaves the question, given that information, what the preference of the Board of Supervisors
Right.
are for this action.
So basically, we have in front of us 2 choices. One to go to a public system, one to maintain the system as it sits right now. If we make it as the system as it sits right now, we're going to get sued by DEP, I assume, okay, and they will force us to move to it. So, any comments or anything before I call motion on this? Let's keep it short, okay. Yes, sir.
Yeah, keep it short to this point. Not
Yes.
Off track. Of the survey, were the
I'm sorry,
surveys?
could we have a name, please?
I'm sorry.
Roger Andrews.
Thank you.
Right.
When the surveys were sent out, were they marked? Do you know?
They were numbered.
They were numbered. when
They were
came out.
numbered as a control.
So now that's how you were able to go back and say, oh, there's X% that were not submitted, so we're gonna go back
Yes.
to them.
Yes,
We
we have a
have that
tally that
data,
literally
yeah.
numbered every survey going out. And the reason you do that is to make sure somebody doesn't, stack the deck more or less on you.
Okay,
And
so-
send in 3 versions of their
So why
response.
why was it optional, or at least presented as being optional on the survey itself to be anonymous or not supply certain data about it when?
It wasn't
if you send
optional,
back?
it wasn't optional not to supply certain data. We asked them to respond to all questions, and people chose not to have a preference. That was an active choice by 16 respondents.
They didn't answer that question on the sheet.
Or they were confused. I'd be the first one to say surveys do confuse people sometimes. Or they're reluctant to make a representation, or they're afraid to declare their preference for fear of being on the wrong side of the issue with neighbors. That's common.
I don't want to necessarily press this issue anymore because I don't have a copy of that survey in front of me, but if you guys have one, I would love to review it again, to actually see it, because the way it was actually presented was, you don't have to put your name in it,
You didn't have to, but you could if you wanted to.
Right. But why? Why not go ahead and tell everyone that this is not an anonymous survey?
Well,
These are
I have
numbers.
not represented to anybody that it's anything but anonymous, meaning nobody knows how people responded. I do in some cases,
Okay.
but that's not in the survey information that's available to you tonight.
Okay.
Charlie?
Charlie Watson again. I don't understand whether it was a survey. You keep saying Hickory Hill. You mean Worcester Acres?
Yes.
Yes.
Well, that's been approved for sewers. That's been approved for public sewers. They were supposed to be done by the year 2006.
That
They're
may
not
have
done. Why was there a survey? Not only that, the survey was skewed. Mr. Golan gave a presentation on the cost, did cost analysis, and it came in around $35,000. But he never said how that was going to be satisfied. You know, this kind of township in Pennsylvania that expects the people to take a full ride on the cost for public sewers. In my opinion, the people that objected to that said no, weren't saying no to public sewers, but to the cost.
Absolutely.
And why hasn't the cost and how that's going to be handled been explained?
Because that's something we have to decide. If we decide to move forward with this, we're going to have to decide how to pay for it.
Well, there's no decision on whether there's going to be public sewers or not. That's already been done.
Well, I think Mr. Garrity explained that during the cost, somewhere along the line, it was either $29,000 or $39,000, and either going to one or the other. That's really the choice. And how they're going to get paid for, the discussion, I believe, was it's not really fair for the other residents of Worcester Township, as we discussed with sand mounds and things like that. And someone mentioned earlier, or asked the question, the burden falls on the people having the sewers, not the residents that have the sand mounds. So however it's going to be done, somehow it's going to be worked out that way.
But the other problem was, if we have systems failing all over the place, Worcester Acres, I was told by the people to do this, not one house could pass. All the systems have failed.
You're probably right.
Because of the high water table, first of all, and because of the ages of the septic.
Soil survey issue.
Okay, one at a time. Okay. Yes.
So what's the question? I don't get it.
Okay, thank you. Mr. Rock? Let him go first, and I'll get you. I'm sorry.
He's not here, right?
All right.
Steve Rock.
Yeah.
DEP did an extensive soil survey in 1966 of the entire township of Worcester. At that point in time, 95%, by the way, it's in the 537 plan.
It was done for the entire county.
By county. 95% of Worcester was deemed where it could not have on-lot septic. The next time a study was done was actually in 1995 by CKS, was commissioned by the Worcester Township to develop the 537 plan in compliance with the Montgomery County's 537 plan and a PA Code 25, which governs them both, by the way. That was the last time. And that also is in this 537 plan for your review. At that time, with the soil saturation numbers that were present, now Worcester Township could, 80% of it, could have on-lot septic, with the exception of 3 areas outlined in that plan. Also outlined by the DEP. Worcester Acres just happens to be one of those that has to do with the soil. I don't care what you do in here, we're not going to be able to have good septic in the soil. Joe Nolan, last year, agreed with the new numbers that are out there for the septic systems today. If you pressure test anybody's system that currently has a system today, where they answered yes or no on this survey, it would fail. 2 years ago, the majority of the mortgage companies did not require a septic evaluation before you got a mortgage on your house. These numbers, this system, and this survey that was sent out to Worcester, I say this survey is basically, I'm going to challenge the legitimacy of the survey. It was basically commented that it was an involuntary survey that was to be sent out just to see what the general feelings are. Now it's being used somehow after the 3rd time. We've seen it, heard the numbers. It's now being used as some way to make a decision on whether we're going to put sewers in or not. I'm just not understanding that at all. I mean, not at all. To me, when the DEP or the Montgomery Board of Health comes and does a soil survey for your area, and they say, hey, this soil will perk or it won't. we have to listen to that, guys. I mean, that's the whole thing. I mean, we are stuck in a situation in this neighborhood. If you guys were to take a look at the 537 plan, if you were to take a look at the DEP's letter that was sent out to all the municipalities on November 2011, it basically indicated that if you have a change in your municipality situation, I can give you a copy of the letter. It's on the website if you guys want to see it, DEP's website. It basically said we have to review all our plans. This Worcester Acres is covered underneath Chapter 71, which basically says we have the right, we have reserved right for that septic system that's over there. Somehow, Center Point got hooked up and we didn't. I don't know how that happened. I have an idea how it happened, but we didn't. This letter, can we go back to the letter that was sent to Lee? Because I need to make a public comment about this. Steve Rock did not say and make a comment that Lee had a letter sent to him from the DEP. I did not bring that up earlier in this discussion, but I would like to point a paragraph that was out in that letter while I quickly scanned it. I believe the paragraph in there basically said, go up a little bit higher. We kept kind of glazed over it. I think the word required was in there from the DEP. Anybody that's been involved in manufacturing, professional sector, OSHA, DEP, done work with those guys, know that the word recommend and require means two different things. You might have to go up a little bit.
It's right there.
Is it on there?
That's this 1996.
1996. Required public sewers to be installed in Hickory Hill and Landis Road service areas within 10 years. That completion date was supposed to be in 2006. I mean, to me, that's a statement, guys.
Okay. Gentlemen, here.
A few things.
Your
Ken
name?
LeQuinco,
Ken, okay.
1745 Greenbrier Drive.
Right.
My septic system, I moved in 2006.
Okay.
My septic system's new.
Mhm.
Works just fine. I understand I would not have to hook up to, but I really have a problem paying twice for the same service. I live next to Berkey's. He's got like 40 acres. So if I pay for this little sewer upgrade, Berkey drops dead, the kids sell the land, I'm now subsidizing someone else's sewer project.
How?
Theoretically. How?
Yeah.
If I'm paying for the pipe to go there, they put the land next to it, they put houses, they're going to put sewer, they're going to tap into that, right?
They're going to have to put pipe into that.
They're going to have to
place
put
too.
pipe to my property.
Right.
So,
Through your property?
No, that's not.
next
that.
to my property.
If it was through your property.
No, it's not to my property, no, it's Greenbrier Drive.
Right.
But it's Berkey ends at Greenbrier Drive.
Right.
So, I mean, I'm a little ticked, I'm sorry. I understand y'all have old septics. The Middletons, they got out a good time. They know what to do. Your stuff failed. Mine failed. This should have been done. The negligence of prior boards. I am steaming. I'm sorry, gentlemen, but I am steaming over this. You know, we weren't going to buy this place because we couldn't get a good perk. And the only place I could get it was on the one corner. It's not the most aesthetically pleasing. It's not the ski slope like down the street, but it's not the most aesthetically pleasing. But we love that property so much. We were willing to work. And, you know, basically I'm going to be paying this property 3 times now, it looks like. Because I'm going to be paying for, I paid for this. I'm going to be paying for, I don't really care if you put sewers in the street. That's your business. But when I got to get forced to pay for this, yeah, that's where I got a problem. I mean,
Understand.
Yeah, you guys can, you know, agree, disagree, whatever. You're going to do what you're going to do. But I'm letting you know, I'm really pissed. Because this should have been done 10 freaking years ago.
17.
Here's where I find the results of
Thank you.
the survey interesting is I didn't know how many systems were new and how new they were. Now we do. Now I believe that I would like to, if we move forward with public sewer, ask our solicitor if we can make some accommodation for those property owners who recently put in a new system. I think that's only fair.
We're going to have to look at that. First, we've got to decide.
Exactly.
We're moving
But I
forward and
think
what type
that's-
of system.
Someone commented that the survey was really useless. To me, it was not useless because it brought home that certain residents have new systems. I didn't know how many. Now I know how many systems are new and what percentage it is, and that's going to inform the decision of how to move forward and how to deal with those residents' concerns as well as the residents who need sewer. And I apologize for something in my contact which is not not cooperating, I apologize.
Okay. Do I hear a motion then to move forward with Hickory Hill? Yes.
Well,
Mr. Chairman, there's some other
There's
questions
more.
I have from other people.
Yeah, I've got a
Okay,
question.
in the back over there.
My name's Jeff Penny, I'm 2912 Hickory Hill Road.
Right.
I think I can address, I'm sorry, sir, for your name.
Ken.
Ken. I think I can address some of your concerns as a builder. I've done subdivisions, and I'm usually charged a CMU or some sewer fee that
tap fee.
does, lower your burden.
Mm-hmm. Okay,
In
over
other
here.
townships, I assume
Yep.
it's the same.
Correct.
Okay. Go ahead.
Just a comment about if everyone's hand is forced to go ahead and do this within the community,
Mm-hmm.
in some means, and the burden of payment is put on the homeowners,
Mm-hmm.
right? If you're gonna go to the solicitor and request some sort of relief to those that have done it in the last X years, 5, 10, whatever that is, it doesn't change the overall cost of the project. So is
It
that
does.
relief,
Well,
is that, please,
Go ahead.
is that relief going to be at the expense of those that didn't have it upgraded
Mm-hmm.
within those number of years? Because the denominator is gonna change. You got 10 people here and you got 40 people here, so now those 40 are gonna pay for.
There's also, if we're assuming we move forward with this expeditiously right now, we're going to have to discuss that going forward, how we're going to pay for this, who's going to pay for it, how long it's going to take. There's going to be a lot of things that we're going to have to deal with. We're not going to do that tonight, because there's too much there, and it's getting rather late.
I
Okay?
understand your concern, though. It's going to be a little more sophisticated than just these 5 don't have to pay. It will be a lot more detailed than that, so that I understand that the people who are remaining to pay shouldn't have to bear an undue burden. So we'll work that out. This has been done before. We're not inventing a wheel here. I don't propose to
Right.
invent a new wheel. Other communities have faced the same issue with some property owners who have systems and some who need the system. I'm confident that our solicitor has examples he can point us to so that we can craft something that's fair for everybody.
Okay. Something new, Steve?
I'll try and make it quick.
Something new,
This time I
okay.
really will.
Yeah.
We brought this up behind closed doors at the last meeting,
Right.
and one of the gentlemen's actually here, he's gonna raise his hand. And since the survey was done, I think I also told you that several homes have been
Right.
sold since the survey was done.
Right.
Those people thought their septic systems were fine.
Mm-hmm.
And then the people that did buy those houses found out that it wouldn't pass. They've had to put new systems in.
Mm-hmm.
One of those 2 systems is failing right now. That has been brought to the township's attention as of today.
Okay.
Brand new system, by the way. Brand new.
Anything else? Yes.
Matt Ribbit, 2875 Hickory Hill. We just moved in. Hope it's not my system. I've been told.
No,
and the previous owners had to pay the expense to put our system in. Over $30,000.
Mm-hmm.
We have a beautiful mound of sand, a small one, in our backyard. So maybe, I don't know how long it takes to go up it, 3, 4, 5, 10 years from now, we're going to be forced to hook up to sewer. And we've got this beautiful $30,000 pile of dirt in our backyard.
That is one of the questions that
What do we
we're
do
going to
with
have to
that?
look at. We're going to have to look at that too. Nothing is easy about any of this.
But again, that's been done before too, and we're going to rely on our solicitor and our engineer to tell us what other communities have done and then make a decision based on experience. In other words, we're not making this up. We're looking for experience to inform us.
Susan Watson. We're spending right now about $6,000 a year having our septic pumped.
Mhm.
We just kiss that goodbye, or we just sit around and wait for some kind of a decision to be made.
Well,
I mean, that's a lot of money.
I'm promising a decision
We
tonight.
can't even go sometimes 2 days without having it pumped twice. So we just say, oh, the hell with it. We just throw away $6,000, $7,000, $8,000 a year while everybody tries to make a decision that was already made. And all this would be irrelevant if everybody had been on board and had looked at the acts, the laws, or whatever, and done by 2006. We wouldn't even be here.
Ms. Watson, I'm confused. You said you have to wait a couple days to go, or for the pump, the system?
Sometimes we have it pumped one day and then the next day.
depending on.
We had a lot of rains last
Yeah.
Yeah.
I guess one of the questions you folks have to realize is that as a supervisor, it comes back to haunt us sometimes, such as the sewer problem in Fairview Village. The people came back 10, 12 years afterwards and said, well, you did it for them, you have to do it for us. And a lot of conditions, someone mentioned about the person who sold the house. You know, if we start granting waivers for people who have systems, we may have people coming back who sold their house the past years and said, hey, listen, the problem is, you know, you guys should have known that. I wouldn't have to sell my house if you'd fixed the sewer system. So we're not going to say we're going to grant you folks any kind of financial remuneration at this point. It's the early stages discussion. You know, it just...
Well, it hasn't even been voted on to do it.
Exactly. So we're just talking about trying to get the sewers.
What choice is there?
What does it matter if they vote? All right?
Right.
Give them 30 seconds and
Right.
then we can move on.
Okay,
I think we have to vote on getting the sewer. We don't really have a choice. As Mr. Buss said, you guys have proof in the pudding. Let's just move forward and let us vote on something so you know which direction we're going in.
Yeah.
Mr. Chairman.
Right. Can we vote? Can we vote? I would like a motion.
Mr. Garrity, how do you want the motion to?
I think the motion, the only motion that's been discussed, it's already been moved and seconded, and then I think.
All right.
Oh, we
it's been
did?
seconded.
Did we
I don't
move?
think
No, we didn't do
there's no
anything
motion.
yet.
Oh, all right, well, then the
No.
motion is simply.
How complex do you want it?
To move
I don't
forward
want it
with
complex
the
because I
Okay.
understand there'll be another discussion.
Right.
And so it's simply a motion to provide public sewer to the area known as
Worcester Acres.
Okay.
Worcester Acres.
Now,
I move that.
the Hickory Hill design that Joe Nolan provided for 72 houses.
To look into either one of the two options, correct? I mean,
Well,
that
we're
should be
just
part of
passing
this.
the idea to
It's
move
just public
forward.
sewer. We
Right.
haven't
Yeah.
decided
Okay.
which time.
Right. Okay, so I'll take a motion to that effect.
I move that the township move forward to provide public sewer to the 71 homes,
72, one or two?
71 homes in the study area, in the study previously completed by Mr. Nolan, in the area known as Hickory Hill.
Second.
Second. All right, can I vote?
You can vote.
Thank you. All those in favor say aye.
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 Aye. Opposed? No.